morning, children. Today, in this video, I will teach you the poem Birches written by Robert Frost. We will complete the poem in 4 days, and in all these days, you should read the poem again and again. Revise the text thoroughly so that later you can quote it in your answers for better scores. By the end of the poem, you will be able to explain meanings of the difficult words as used in the poem, detail the rural images that the poet describes through his poem, define blank verse and important metaphors that are adding to the meaning of the poem, identify possible themes of the poem Birches by Robert Frost, analyze how a poem's form or structure contributes to its meaning. Before giving you the summary of the poem, I'll first give you its short overview. Birches is one of Robert Frost's best-known poems. It describes rural landscape, showing Frost as a nature poet. Consisting of 59 lines, Birches is written in blank verse, which means a poem with no rhyme. In writing the poem, Frost was inspired by his childhood experience of swinging on birches. In the poem, the act of swinging on birch trees is presented as a way to escape harsh truths of adult world, though only for a moment. The narrator in the poem regrets that as an adult, he is unable to leave his responsibilities behind and climb towards heaven until he can start afresh on earth. I'm going to tell you summary of the poem Birches. The poem begins with an image of birches bent left and right across the lines of straighter, darker trees. Birches have thin trunks, and so they bend easily in the wind and under the weight of snow. The poet has given a beautiful description of birch trees, their frozen branches, with ice in the morning after an ice storm. During an ice storm, the tree is covered with freezing rain. However, their beauty is only short-lived. Soon the sun cracks and crazes their enamel. That is, due to the heat of the sun, the ice breaks and falls into the snow. The speaker imagines that a boy had been swinging on them, and that is how they got bent. But then he admits that this is false, because swinging does not bend the tree enough to cause permanent damage. Again, the speaker's imagination rises as he has used a simile comparing the bowed birch trees to girls on their hands and legs, their hair hanging down in front of them as if they are drying their hair in the sun. The speaker now dismisses the ice storm as a cause for the birch's condition in favor of his original explanation that the boy had bent them. This boy herds cows. He lives far away from the city, so he does not know how to play baseball and does not have any friends. The speaker then reveals that he himself was once a swinger of birches and admits that he now dreams of returning back to this activity as a release from the worry, confusion, and pain of adult life. And he wants to come back to earth, which is the right place for love. Originally, this poem was called Swinging Birches, a title that perhaps provided a more accurate depiction of the subject. Birch swinging was a popular game for children in rural areas of New England during that time. The birch tree is the central figure of the poem, and thus Birches seems to be an appropriate vehicle to describe the feelings of the poet as well as to use it as the title of the poem.
Now, first of all, note down these important notes and meanings on your books. Birches. Birches are slender, hard trees. Straighter means not bent. Swinging means hanging from the branches. To stay means staying forever. Ice storm. Heavy fall of snow accompanied by strong wind. Loaded with ice means covered with snow. Click upon themselves means when snow breaks and falls on ground. When the sun rises, it makes clicking sound. Cracks and crazes their enamel. Due to heat of the sun, the ice breaks and falls into the snow. Here breaking of ice is compared to shattering crystal and glass that falls like an avalanche. Now what do you mean by an avalanche? Avalanche means a snowstorm. The snow crystals are compared to broken glass. Now let us come back to our poem again. Now let us start the explanation. I hope you all have written the meanings that I have discussed. When I see birches bend to left and right, here birches are forest trees and their bending to left and right is because of wind and weight of snow. Across the lines of straighter, darker trees. Here, straighter means not bent. Since some types of birches have white bark, they stand out against the straight, dark trees. I like to think some boy been swinging them. Here, apostrophe S stands for has. But swinging doesn't bend them down to stay. Bend them down to stay means bending forever, as ice storms do. So in these lines, the poet wants to say that when he sees birches bent to left and right, standing near straight dark trees, he imagines that a boy had been swinging on them, and that is how they got bent. But he soon realizes that swinging doesn't bend the trees enough to cause permanent damage, so he concludes that ice storms have bent the birches. Now let us do the next paragraph. Often you must have seen them. Here, them are the birches. Loaded with ice, a sunny winter morning. Here, loaded with ice means covered with snow after a rain. They click upon themselves. When the snow breaks because of the heat of the sun and falls on the ground, it produces clicking sound. As the breeze rises and turn many-colored, as the stir cracks and crazes their enamel, cracks and crazes their enamel. Because of the heat of the sun, the ice breaks and falls on the surface covered with snow. The surface covered with snow is compared to enamel. Soon the sun's warmth makes them shed crystal shells. The ice that has broken from the birches is compared to crystal. Shattering and avalanching on the snow crust. Shattering and avalanching means breaking and falling on the snow crust. Avalanching means falling of snow in heavy amount. Such heaps of broken glass to sweep away. The broken pieces of ice are compared to broken glass because of their sharpness and transparency. So in these lines, the poet wants to say that There is beautiful description of birch trees, their branches frozen with ice in the morning after an ice storm. However, their beauty is only short lived. Soon the sun cracks and crazes their enamel. That is, due to heat of the sun, the ice breaks and falls into the snow. Here, the breaking ice has been compared to shattering crystal and glass that falls like an avalanche. Here, avalanches falling of huge mass of snow. The shattered ice crystals get collected under the tree as if they were pieces of glass to be swept away. The snow crystals have been compared to bits of broken glass because of their transparency and sharpness. I hope you all have understood the explanation of these lines.
Now, open your workbook Reverie on page 22. Read explanation of the lines 1 till 12 and plan lines 13 till 27 of the poem Birches by Robert Frost.